So I've been away for a week, and I came home last night and I harvested a bunch of green onions to eat with our ramen that we had after our road trip. And still see there's quite a bit here, but it says given that it's about noon right now and there's no direct sunlight here, I guess is about what I can expect in terms of growth in the winter. And I filled my bucket up before I left, and sure enough there's plenty of water in there for watering. So I would say my watering system is a reasonable success. Alright, I covered my worm bin to keep any rain out, and just in case there were any animals, I put some bricks. So I'm hoping that the worms had plenty of ventilation, and the temperature's been kind of low here lately, so I'm hoping to find that they're thriving inside, and we'll find out in a moment. So I just moved the last of the 4 bricks, and I found a whole bunch of ants underneath, which is kind of surprising. I had ants in the bin the other day before I left. What I did was I put ant chalk all around the edge like this, although because of the gaps in the corners I couldn't quite get everywhere, so I'm kind of curious now where these ants are coming from. I don't see anywhere obvious. Okay, so we can see there's a lot of moisture on the bottom of the lid. It's collecting on the burlap. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, there's a lot of ants here on the ledge. Oh, so there are definitely still a lot of ants in the bin. So the ant chalk, I guess, did not keep them out. Somehow they found a way in. But let's just see how the worms are doing now. So take a look here underneath the first layer of plastic. No action here. Okay, and then we're going to remove the first bin. See how that looks. Oh, look at that. We got lots of little worms. This is exciting. That means... oh, there's a huge slug there. So I guess we'll get that slug out. Little shovel here. Toss this guy. We don't like them too much. Okay. He's gone. But as you can see, there are... well, the worms are going underground. They don't like the light. Let's take a peek here. Yep. Alright, so that's good. I think we'll just leave those. Look at the next layer. Next layer. Oh, we got lots of flies underneath. But we definitely have lots of worms because there's lots of food in there. Some of this peat moss is still kind of dry. Let's see, there's a lot of leaves in here. But yeah, look at that. You can still see there's a good number of worms in there. Oh, I do see some worm eggs in the back. So, there we go. Let's dig up a little bit here and just take a look here. Look at that. Oh, look at that. We got a good number in there. And this is even without disturbing it too much. So, oh yeah. I'm kind of excited about that. Alright, next layer. Oh, this is heavy. Gotta put the camera down. And look at that. Oh, so you can see I put the egg carton in there to give it a little space in there. And, you can see some really big worms in there, and oh, there are some maggots down here, but this layer kind of stinks. It's not really bad though, but yeah, look, you can see a lot of worms underneath the egg carton. So some worms down there and some maggots, but overall it's being broken down quite well. Here's a stub from, I think it's the bottom of cauliflower or broccoli or something, and it looks like the worms are eating that. Anyway, so far so good. So that's the 4 bins on the right side. So I'll put those all back and we'll come back. Okay, so here we go. Take a look on the left side. Look, there's a bunch of ants there. I think the ants initially came in when I put all the pork sung in here. So there's some worms underneath there. Not a lot. But I expect when I agitate this a little bit, we'll find some more in there. There's some little guys in there. take a look under this one. Some worms in there. Doing pretty good. There's a little sprout there. Okay. And then we're going to move the first bin. And look at that, we got some great action down there. And a bunch here. Again, lots of little worms, which is great news. It means they think there's plenty of food. There's some old banana peels. Something a little moldy there. Yeah. But overall, I'm quite happy with... Let's dig down a little bit in here. Let's see here what we got here. So not a lot, it looks like if I dig down into it. I do see some eggs though. Oh yeah, and there are some little worms in there. So they're in there. Okay, so let's move on to the next bin. This one's pretty heavy, need 2 hands. Alright. Again, we got lots of action down here. You can see I put an egg carton in here. It's all kind of mushed and wet down there now, but maybe I can break it a little bit. But it looks like the worms are doing great in this layer too. Oh yeah, look at that, there's a good number in there. And yeah, I'm very pleased with what's going on in here. Okay, now let's take a look at the last layer down here. And again, we've got lots of good action. You can see all the eggshells down here. Some gross little grapes down there, but lots of worm action. It looks like they're multiplying great. So my family gave me a whole bunch of potatoes that were sprouting eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in some of my less populated layers, and I'm hoping the worms will really enjoy that. So on this top layer, I've put a bunch of the potatoes, which I've smashed with a brick, and I've got a bunch of old taro chips and tortilla chips that I'm going to dump in there too. And we'll just see how that helps to counteract any moisture that comes out of these potatoes. And we'll just see how that goes. So now we're going to take a look at my little bins. And this is the one that's usually wet and maggoty. And you'll recall I put a bunch of paper, egg carton, and tapioca in there. And we'll see what we got. So, doesn't look like much right now. Let's see if the worms have survived. Definitely still maggots. I did put a little bit of food in there since I was going to be away for a little bit. Let's see if the worms are still in there. Tapioca is gross and mushy. Doesn't look like anything's eating it. I don't know how that's going there. Oh, we do still have some of the worms. They're still on top, so the worms are still in there. Down below, just looks like maggots. I don't think I see any worms down below where it's really wet. Nope. But there are a few worms in here that are still just eaten away. But it doesn't seem like they're multiplying in this bin that much. So, oh, but there's a bunch here. Anyway, seems like the maggots are doing well and the worms are doing okay. So I'm going to close that up. We'll take a look at the next one here. Now these are more dry, I expect. Oh good, I see a worm egg already. So these, I believe they've gone down in level a little bit, so whatever food was in there has kind of settled. And good. We're seeing a lot of worms down there. The tapioca's down there. And the worms are in there. So you can see they're down there with the eggshells, and looks like they're doing okay. So this bin is doing great. I'll cover this one up. Okay. And we got the last bin here, the yellow bin. Let's see what we got here. Some unusual plants sprouting. I don't think they're going to do too well because there's not going to be any sun in here, but it's okay. So let's see if we got any action down below. Looks like this is the one that had peat moss all lined around all the edges. I'm not seeing any action here. Let's kind of dig down a little bit. Oh, I think I see there's the little worm in there. So I think that means we've got some eggs. And let's dig down a little bit more. Yep, there's some down below. Yep, and there's some very little guys. So just poke down a little bit more. I don't see any food, but it must be in there. But you do see some very little guys in there. So I think I'm just going to close this one back up and let it go. And finally, here's my little bucket with the little things that I thought were weeds that I plucked out of my green onions. And there's not a lot of sun, so I don't know. They're still growing. I don't know what they are, but we'll let them go. So overall, with my worm bins, I am very pleased. There are still worms in all the bins. I have not managed to kill any of them. I think I'm going to be ready to harvest some real worm castings at a good pace, hopefully within the next few weeks or maybe 1 or 2 months. And there have been people asking me for worms, and so I will start collecting them in a few weeks and perhaps giving them away.